Happy Saturday, West Texas. I'm Natalie Cargile, and welcome to the Connect Show, West Texas. As you know, Saturdays are all about success for us here. But this morning, our business bestie, Shauna Garcia, she's under the weather, so, put up a little prayer for her. She will be back with us next week. So today we have Pam Higginbotham holding it down, and Marcie Crossland is our VIP guest today, bringing it all like she always does. And of course, my girl, Christy Lightfoot, is filling in for fall. So we're starting this morning with an expression. And ladies, I love this. And as I get deeper in business and relationships and experiences, this couldn't ring more true. So Tracy Campoli, she's a guest on the Connect Show Miami. I'm obsessed with her, by the way. But she said on the show last week, running your own business is the greatest exercise in personal development. Personal development, right? So what are some of the unexpected personal growth experiences you've had unexpectedly in business?
For me, I think learning how to truly not care what people think while I'm trying to build my brand. And I think that the bigger that you get in business, the more people have to say, either good, both good and bad. And you just have to learn not to wear it. And then learning how to diversify for me.
That is so true. And I don't think I really worked on myself as much until I became a business owner. It's like it just almost didn't feel the need to, but that's definitely not true. But I guess you maybe feel it or see it more as a business owner. And for me, it's been disconnecting between just removing the, everything's not personal. Someone doesn't want to work with you, or, what you charge and all that stuff. None of that's personal. This is a business, and just removing that sometimes, you're not supposed to work with someone, and really it has nothing to do with you.
And one of the quotes or things that I've heard from several very successful women in business is that we don't appreciate when God removes someone from our lives, right? We sit around wondering why this person's still not here. We loved working with this person or not. Maybe differences here or there, but sometimes God will do the magic for you, and it's not for you to understand at this time. Maybe, in retrospect, as they say, the clarity can come there. So it's interesting.
And you said before we started filming, and I love what you said, Natalie, you said, not everybody is forever. It's okay for people to outgrow you too. It's okay to let people go. How do you handle that whenever people who have been stopped try to stop you because they've been stopped? Like, how do you handle that? I think that's a huge, that's so profound to me, because that's part of what I was saying earlier. When people have a lot to say about you that's negative, and Christy, it's not personal. It really has more to do with them than it does with you. And so just not wearing it and just removing yourself from it. You can't be stopped by someone if you want to go badly enough.
Into that.
So as you ladies are all evaluating your fourth quarter, so in your business, what are some of the ways that you are building up mentally as well as systems to make it through 2021 and be very, very strong in business?
Well, I think any of us could answer that, but I'd love for Marcie to go first, because Marcie's the girl boss with all of the things that, a lot of people from the outside of business looking in think count for a business. She has a brick and mortar. She has a staff, right? You have several services and several offerings within your empire. So why don't you share your perspective on that first, Marcie?
We've spent a lot of time talking about, and honestly, right now, I'm so thankful, guys, to be in business and to live in a community that has just really supported us. And, I get to sling hair, I get to stab faces all at the same time. I'm in the same place. I get to sell hair. And so I live in a community, and I'm surrounded by people who haven't limited me. I feel like nobody's tried to put a cap on what I'm doing. I've been able to diversify. And even throughout, this terrible, crazy year, we've been supported and loved, and we're like a family up here. We've talked about this before, but man, it took so many years to put the right people in the right places And now I feel like it's magical, and having that family feel where even when someone does leave up here, we support them and love them in their next step. And just there's such a positivity here that truly was not here. I think we're all very thankful in a way that before COVID and before all the things that have been happening lately, we just didn't appreciate what we had the way we should have. And so all of us are more thankful. We're more graceful.
Yeah. It's interesting, the angle that COVID has brought to just life and perspective in general. I think we're all so much more grateful today, and we're just willing to be more available, more aware, when it comes to everybody, ourselves, right? Ourselves. I think there's more mental and health wellness today at home for everyone, more than we have seen in the past.
Well, if 2020 has taught us anything, it's that anything is possible. So I'm actually changed up what I was expecting to do in the last quarter, and then also for next year. So I'm actually just like removing limits to, what I'm doing, and then also niching down.
Well, we are going to take a quick break, but did you know there is a new real estate group in town, and they are on the rise? Find out who next. We'll be right back.
Stop Checking Your Likes is the hottest must-read of the moment. This is not a book about social media. It's about shaking off that need for approval and living your incredible life. Available everywhere books are sold.
Welcome back, West Texas. So we are here with Kelsey Rasher, and she is with Rise Real Estate Group. And I just love how, Kelsey, you ladies are shaking things up and separating yourself from the rest of the real estate industry. And one thing that I just learned before, during the commercial break is that this is your business. I didn't realize that this was owned by one individual. I thought maybe it was a company from like Dallas, Fort Worth, or they franchise, they're getting some local real estate agents. But girl, 2 snaps to you. Kelsey, how old are you, may I ask?
Thank you. I am 28.
28.
Yes.
28. Now, folks at home, we're all taking notes. That's the purpose of the show. We're here to learn, to be inspired. 28, you own your own real estate company, and you have several real estate agents that are working with you, right?
Ma'am, yes, ma'am. I am so blessed to have incredible people work with me and go with me on this crazy ride. I mean, they've teamed up and they've just been awesome, along for the ride, and great people. I'm so thankful for them.
So what is it about Rise Real Estate Group? And talk a bit about how you got the vision to get started, because I believe it started with,
Yes.
where the inspiration comes from many of us, and that's getting fired or getting let go. So let's go back there.
Yeah. So honestly, now it's one of my favorite stories to tell. But it was exactly a year ago this week. So October 15th of last year, I was absolutely shocked. My world was shaken. I got fired, and it was something that I was so ashamed of at the time, because it wasn't necessarily anything I had done wrong. It was just kind of a personality conflict. There's all kinds of craziness that goes along with that, but I was shocked, and I didn't know what I was going to do. I was embarrassed, because people like me, don't get fired. I'm very type A, very high achieving. So that was a huge blow to my ego more than anything. For a couple of weeks, it was hard for me to get out of bed because I didn't know what I was going to do. I'm so thankful because I chose to, rise up and make something from this. And I'm so thankful that I did. And I had that motivation, because I look back on that now. And like I said, it's one of my favorite stories to tell. And I couldn't be more thankful for that experience that turned into an opportunity.
Do you think that real estate's easier for women?
So I wouldn't necessarily say it's so much easier or harder, really, just because doing the business is hard for anybody. Getting the business, I can see sometimes, that may be a little bit more challenging as women. But at the end of the day, it's all about the grind. And if you're willing to work hard and put in the effort, the work's out there. You just got to step up and find it.
What is something that you would tell someone who's interested in starting a business in real estate? what are some things that they might not expect or know, or some of the things that you've learned that might could help some other person who's trying to do what you've done?
Yeah, I love that question. What's funny is whenever I first got into the business, I kind of was expecting the whole like glamorous, drive around in these fancy cars wearing my Louboutins kind of thing. And while there is a little bit of an element of that in real estate, this business is hard work. And, I can't tell you how many sleepless nights I've laid awake wondering if I can get a contract on this or find a buyer for this or a seller for this or what have you. So that's really the biggest thing is it's so challenging and it's so full of opportunity. But at the end of the day, it's a lot harder than it looks.
What are you and your team going to be doing to make your experience or make it more women-centric? I love that word.
Yes, I love that too. It's funny because I'm a team of 10. So we have 10 total, including me. We have one guy, his name is Brentley, and he's absolutely precious, but we're very, very women dominant. And I think that with that, not that men aren't this way, but I think that as women, we kind of have a softer heart and giving nature, giving spirit. I'll be honest with you guys, I had some really big goals and really big plans to give back to our community this year. Unfortunately, we didn't have quite the opportunity that I thought that we would with COVID and everything that went on with that. But for 2021, I'm already planning some really, really big things, wanting to give back to our community. Things just as simple as, serving a meal at Breaking Bread or doing a trunk or treat. I mean, anything that can put us out there, but more importantly, put us in a position to serve our community.
How can people reach you and get you to help them buy or sell their homes?
Yes. So you can reach my email, kelsey@risegrouprealestate.com. We have a website, risegrouprealestate.com. And we're on Facebook and Instagram, risegrouprealestate.com.
Coming up next, we are checking in with the newest children's apparel store in Midland. But first, here's this week's Minute with Miss Marcie.
Welcome to this week's Minute with Marcie. I want to take a minute to just thank all of you guys, the community, our patients, our clients. 2020 has been very trying for all of us, and I feel very thankful to have the work family that I have and the patients and the clients who have supported us throughout all these crazy times. We're still here and we're thriving, and it's because of you guys and your love and your support. And I just want to give a big thank you to the Permian Basin and all of you who travel from far away to come and see us and have these procedures done. Everybody who's wearing Real MC hair on their heads, every person who comes into BRL Salon, and we want to take care of you guys the way you've taken care of us, and just thanks.
You don't have to be a celebrity to feel like one. Our top-of-the-line Russian hair extensions provide a more natural feel, faster blow-dry time, and a full wait line. Real MC hair extensions are available to all stylists, and all extensions are available the same day. Come in and feel the difference for yourself.
Well, welcome back. If you have not made it over to Ally Village Shopping Center, you are definitely missing out. Now, boxed in, they have the cutest apparel for children of all ages. I'm excited. We are with the owner this morning, Rachel Howard, and she's letting us know what to expect when we come into the store. This is a new space in Midland that we have been waiting for. So good morning, Rachel. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yes, absolutely. Well, tell us a little bit about what we can expect when we come into the Boxed In.
Well, we carry kids' clothing. So we start at ages 2T and we go up to about a 16. And so we have things both for boy and girl. We have your classic apparel as well as some more fun and funky things, especially on the preteen and teen side for girls. And then we also have some preppy things as well, and then lots of gifts and accessories. I have 2 boys, and I've always loved fashion myself, but once I became a mom, I definitely kind of projected that onto my kids. And once we moved to Midland about 7 years ago, I realized there wasn't anywhere to shop for kind of your older kids. There's definitely the baby market is kind of covered here in Midland, but there wasn't anything when you got into those older ages. And so that's when I kind of had the idea of opening Boxed In here in Midland, just to provide another outlet for people to shop instead of traveling to kind of suit that need, which is what I was doing. I was going back to my hometown in Fort Worth and always doing all my shopping there instead of giving those tax dollars back to the Midland community. So that's kind of where that decision came from.
You know, I've tried retail before. I have tried and fell on my big fat face. And it's harder than it looks, right? When did you decide to take that launch, and what have you found to be the most difficult?
I think the launch, my decision that I made to do it was when my youngest was in kindergarten, and I found myself having so much time that I didn't know what to do with myself. So I wanted to do something that involved my kids, but that also brought back something to the community. I would say the biggest challenge that I didn't really think about from the retail side of things was how to manage inventory, how to figure out how much to buy. The seasons are definitely different. Retail is very unpredictable. This year's been particularly challenging because of the COVID and having to shut the store, and people's buying habits and needs change so much. And so really, I think it varies from day to day, month to month, and year to year, definitely by the seasons. And being a single business owner is a lot of responsibility. So there are lots of different challenges, whether it be from a technical perspective, inventory, unexpected changes in the market. There's just a whole lot there that I didn't necessarily think about. So it's definitely been a very big learning curve.
Well, you're doing great.
So many women find when their kids are in school, when they've started their own little lives with their friends and all, the mom is sitting at home thinking, what have I been doing for myself for the last 7, 8, 9, 10 years? And every time I get to a place where I feel like, you know what, am I over my head? Am I trying to do too much? Should I just stay home and be a mom? People like you bring me back to, where I need to be. And that is, at someday, these kids are going to have their own lives, right? Yeah. At someday they're going to go on, they're going to go to school, they're going to all these things. And so I love that you found something for you because that time was there. And that's
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I wanted it to have something to do with the kids still. That way it was kind of a good mix that I felt like at least I was doing something that involved my kids that they could get excited about too, instead of it being something, in a different facet of retail. Okay, so I would say my biggest recommendation that I've actually am going through right now. So we have a website, but when we launched our website and our store 2 years ago, we weren't thinking from the perspective that we had to sell online. But I think from what I've learned with everything that's happened unexpectedly this last year, you have to have an online presence. Right now, if you want to buy something from Boxedin, you can through Instagram, but it's all through direct messaging instead of being able to shop directly with the platform and, clicking on the shopping bag and things like that. But we recognize that was such a need when the storefronts do have to close down. And so many people throughout Texas want to shop at our store without being able to be in West Texas.
Well, coming up next, everyone will need the service, whether you are, like Miss Rachel and you have your own store, or if you're a real estate agent like Kelsey, we all need a photographer. So coming up next, Chelsea West, she is sharing how to get that one shot. Coming up next.
Are you ready to transform your body in just 30 minutes a day from your living room? I'm Tracy Campoli, the creator of Total Body Transformation, the excuse-proof fitness program made for busy babes like you and me to get fit, sweat, and smile. We've been featured on Good Morning America, The Today Show, and in USA Today. All you have to do is simply log in and press play. No boredom, no stress, and no dread. All in just 30 short minutes from the comfort of your own home. Go to tracycampoli.com to get started today.
Well, welcome back. Ladies, I am realizing more and more that I need a photographer as my BFF, right? Between the influencers that are coming on this show, the girl bosses on this show, they are sharing with us, the power of a picture, whether it's Instagram or Facebook. it's amazing that your feed, your sales, your following, everything can be based upon a picture, right? So Chelsea West, I'm happy you're here today. You are going to show us how it's done. What does it take? That's my first question for you, Chelsea. Sure. What does it take to get that perfect picture?
Listen, if you, and I tell specifically moms this all the time, if you do not feel comfortable and if you do not have the confidence in yourself, everybody else that sees that picture is going to read you like a book. So from shoes that you put on to the dress that you wear to the makeup to the lashes, if any of it does not feel comfortable, if any of it makes you like kind of squirm and wiggle, everybody else is going to see it. So you have to feel comfortable, confident, and ready to go for those pictures so that everybody else can see who you are and what you're representing, regardless if it's for your brand or your family or those friends who are reading your, like on Instagram, all of it. You've got to feel comfortable. Number one.
And you were a teacher, right? And
it was. Yeah. Sorry.
You quit being a teacher to become a professional photographer. And a lot of people struggle with that, to know, is now the time to step out and leave my full-time job to jump into this and become an entrepreneur, which can be scary. Share with us what inspired you to take that leap and when you decided to do that.
Well, I loved being a teacher. I did not choose to leave. I had a medical concern pop up that kind of forced me out. Mm-hmm. And in my mind, I was just going to take a year off and then I would come right back into it. And that was 3 years ago. So it's been a hot minute. I would love to get back in the classroom eventually, but I have always carried a camera around with me and initially had started taking pictures at our ranch of animals and all the things out there and realized I need to practice on things that move. So I called a friend of mine who had 3 kids at the time. She now has 4. And said, let me steal your kids for a day, because that doesn't sound creepy. And I need to just take pictures of things that move. I did that. My cousin was like, hey, we need pictures too. And it has been word of mouth ever since.
A lot of people on social media, influencers, are using presets. I don't ever use any of them because I don't know how, and I don't know which ones to use. I'm a little bit challenged in that area. So as a photographer, how do you feel about using presets? And are there any that are good that you would recommend that we use?
I personally do not use presets. And like you, I have never ventured down that road. I like to have more control of what I'm putting in and taking out. And so I don't really have a lot of recommendations on what presets to use. Lighting is 100% by far the most important and tends to... You can fix lighting. You can't always fix focus. So as long as you feel comfortable with the light that you've got, I think that beats any preset for sure.
Big question is, how do people reach you to get your amazing services?
Oh, thank you. I am on Facebook and Instagram. Both are Chelsea West Photography. I have not ventured into the world of TikTok yet, but the teens that are around me are like, you have to. I'm like,
girl, I want to see you doing all the moves when you get on TikTok, okay? I want the robot. I want all the things, right?
No, listen, these grays do not dance very well. Like, listen, I know my age range. I know it.
Some Chelsea West. You guys, make sure you hit up Chelsea West. I love your energy. You're so fun. I'm glad you made it on the show today.
Pull up, girl boss, and join the show. That's right. It's time for your 5 minutes of fame with the hosts of the Connect Show West Texas. Yes, every week we bring in one VIP influencer to bring the magic. Register today at theconnectonline.com.
Well, welcome back, West Texas. It is fall, right? And I think we're finally being able to, feel the fall, right? A little chilly in the mornings. The sun's coming up a bit later. For me, fall, Thanksgiving, Christmas, it all reminds me of sweet potato pie. I love sweet potato pie. And that's why you are a fantastic guest for today, Hannah, because you are the owner of the Little Red Mixer and you have sweets and treats galore. So welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
So what are some of the most popular sweets and treats during the holidays?
Oh man, anything pumpkin, of course. You know, we all love our pumpkin. Pumpkin, caramel, those rich, flavors that make you feel like grandma, kind of thing. So those are always good. You've got your classics that are, everybody goes to those, but I definitely add some spice and some fruit and all those kind of things whenever the weather starts cooling off. So.
Yum.
I have about 500. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Christy Jo.
We're all so excited.
I know. The cookies. I saw your Instagram. Love the cookies. They're so gorgeous. Not sure why we're not eating those for breakfast this morning, but Natalie, next time. Yeah. I would love to know how you got started because this is your 5th year in business.
It was just complete happenstance. I was, the regular working mom, busy, 9 to 5 kind of thing. Whenever I was about to deliver my second child, I just decided, it's crazy for me to be paying daycare for 2 kids. It takes up half of my paycheck. So I'm working full time, getting paid half time and not being with my children, which is that nobody, ideally that's not what you want to do. So I stayed home after she was born. I stayed home for, I guess, about 6-8 months or so. And then all of a sudden, sorry, y'all, there's a fly driving me crazy. Stayed home, and then my son's birthday rolled around, and I wasn't a big Facebook person. I was never a big social media person until starting the business. So my husband actually posted my son's birthday cake on his Facebook. Like, hey, my wife made this. If you need a cake, give her a holler, whatever. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I was so embarrassed. I was mortified that he did that. And a few people commented and liked and things like that. And then a few days later, I got one call and it was like, hey, my kid's birthday is next week. Could you bake a cake? And I was like, yeah, sure, great. So I did. I totally undercharged because I had no idea what I was doing, but the cake was gorgeous. It was lots of fun. So then that cake was posted to that person's page as well as my page. And then the next week it was like 2 calls, like, hey, I've got this coming up. And within 6 months, I had a full-blown business, was booked out for months in advance, and have just grown gradually and learned over, the course of it all. So complete happenstance, and just glad to have fallen into that accident that has now become the Little Red Mixer.
Yeah. You are awesome. We'll be following you on Instagram and on Facebook. And before you go, is there anything else our viewers need to know that you have to offer coming up this fall?
Yeah, so we're going to have a sugar cookies and champagne pajama party in my new studio. I'm sitting in my studio right now. This is just a little corner over here, but this is kind of my fun local business wall. So this is my daughter's company, and I've got some local art. All of my studio has been furnished by local business people. All of my decor is local artists or sourced by local people. So the studio is now finished. I'm really excited to have people in. So that's going to be our little kickoff.
You make it a great day, and we will see you right back here next week on The Connect Show. Bye-bye.
Welcome to the Connect Network, where we bring you girl bosses month after month after month at our masterminds. If you are ready to expand your circle, join the Connect Network's membership today.